Welcome Planning Commission members, staff, and guests. Multiple staff members are here today to ensure that the meeting runs smoothly and all applicants and members of the public are able to participate in the meeting at the appropriate times.
If you're here today and would like to speak about a case, please provide your name clearly into the microphone, and please be sure to sign in either at the back of the room or at the podium for documentation purposes. If you're here today to speak about a case, you must speak up when the chairperson calls for public comment. I'll go ahead and call the roll. Mr. Causey?
Present.
Mr. Cook? Ms. Davis? Ms. Hartz? Mr. Tupper? Here. Mr. Frost?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Nothing's changing on mine. Still having issues?
Yeah, I just told him.
There you go.
Keep going.
That's fine.
I'll give a brief overview of the meeting format. Applicants with requests before the Planning Commission are allotted a presentation time of 10 minutes. This time should include, but is not limited to, an overview of the project, case history, and any pertinent meetings held regarding the request. This time also includes all persons presenting information on behalf of the applicant, such as attorneys, engineers, and architects. The time limit does not include any questions asked by the Planning Commission or staff regarding the requests. During the public comment period, members of the general public are given an opportunity to address their concerns in intervals of 2 minutes. After the public comment period, applicants have 5 minutes to respond. The administrator has a timer and will make presenters aware of when their time has expired. The Planning Commission reserves the right to amend these procedures on a case-by-case basis. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There have not been any changes since publication.
The Planning Commission uses the consent agenda to approve non-controversial or routine matters by single motion and vote. Examples of such items include approval of site plans, annexations, and street names. If a member of the Planning Commission or the general public wants to discuss an item on the consent agenda, you must speak up after the consent agenda is read. Then that item is removed from the consent agenda and considered during the regular meeting agenda. The Planning Commission then approves the remaining consent agenda items.
I'll go ahead and read through the consent agenda. The first item is to approve the September 8th, 2022 meeting minutes. The second case is under future land use map amendment and zoning map amendment for a pending annexation. This is Annex-2022-0019, 7106 Broad River Road, a request for recommendation on assignment of land use classifications of Community Activity Corridor AC2, and assignment of zoning of Community Activity Center Corridor District, CAC, with a pending annexation. The property is currently classified as neighborhood medium density in a priority investment area and zoned NC by Richland County. Case number 3 is Annex-2022-0022, 1008 Likes Lane. Request recommendation on assignment of land use classifications of Community Activity Corridor, AC2, and assignment of zoning of Community Activity Center Corridor, CAC, with a pending annexation. The property is currently classified as neighborhood medium density and zoned GC by Richland County. Case number 4, Annex-2022-0024, 1903 Hazelwood Road and 1842 Presley Street. Request recommendation on assignment of land use classifications of Urban Edge Residential Large Lot and assignment of zoning of Residential Single Family Large Lot with a pending annexation. The property is currently classified as neighborhood medium density and zoned RSLD by Richland County. Case number 5, Annex-2022-0025, unincorporated portions of 3815 Ayrshire Avenue and .56 acres on the northeast side of Clement Road. Request recommendation on assignment of land use classifications of urban core residential small lot and assignment of zoning of residential single-family large lot with a pending annexation. The property is currently classified as mixed residential, high density, and zoned RSHD by Richland County. In case number 6, Annex-2022-0026, 37.675 acres on the south side of I-20, request to annex the property and assign a land use classification of community activity corridor and assign zoning of general commercial district at the time of annexation. The property is currently classified as neighborhood medium density and zoned M1 by Richland County. And finally, case number 7 is a zoning map amendment. This is ZMA-2022-0014, 14.75 acres on the north side of Lost Creek Drive. Request recommendation to rezone the property from large lot reserve district, a portion within the floodplain overlay district, to residential single-family large lot district, a portion within the floodplain overlay district. And I'd also just like to make note that we did receive some correspondence that was forwarded to the Planning Commission. There was a letter from Ms. Elaine G. Mathis, an email that was forwarded to the commission yesterday. And then we also have another letter that was sent about a case that's not on the consent agenda that we'll read later. So just to make note of that for the record. And that concludes the consent agenda.
Great, thank you. I'll now call for removal of any items on the consent agenda. Is there anyone from the Planning Commission or the public that would like any item removed from the consent agenda? Any of the items previously read on the consent agenda? Is there anyone that would like to have an item removed and placed on the regular agenda? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion on the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as written.
Got a motion to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, I've just heard from that, we might have some folks here that wanted to talk about the 2022-0025, Ayrshire and Clement Road. Is that correct? Is somebody here to talk about that? I guess we need to
Okay.
remove something from the consent agenda.
Okay. Can I get a motion to remove case 5 from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda?
Motion, we remove case 5, place it on the regular agenda.
Got a motion to remove case 5, place it on the regular agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. That case has been moved down to the regular agenda. Now, can I get a motion that we accept the consent agenda with case 5 removed?
Make a motion that we accept the consent agenda with case 5 removed.
Got a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it. The motion's approved. We're still not getting anything up here, so I don't know if we want to pause for a minute and get that straight. You got case 5 up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The Planning Commission will now move forward with those items on the regular agenda.
Okay, so item number 5 is Annex -2022-0025. And it's the annexation of the unincorporated portions of 3815 Ayrshire Avenue and 0.56 acres northeast side of Clement Road, which is a portion of tax map numbers 9201, 0907, and 09-201-0908. And this request is for a recommendation on the assignment of a land use classification of urban core residential small lot and assignment of zoning of residential single-family large lot, RSF1, for a pending annexation. The property is currently classified as mixed residential high density and zoned RSHD by Richland County. So to explain a little bit about what this request is there are 2 separate lots under common ownership, and portions of both are actually already within the city of Columbia, dating back to the merger of the town of Eau Claire and the city of Columbia in 1955. So the old boundaries of the town of Eau Claire were drawn as a circle from a central point, and it kind of carves through properties regardless of the property line. And the property owner has requested the annex to clean it up and to bring the remainder of her property into the city. To my knowledge, there's no proposed change to the use of the properties, and the zoning is single-family residential.
Okay. Any questions from Planning Commission to staff regarding this case? Is the applicant present? Would the applicant want to speak? Applicant is not present. Okay. Anybody else here to speak for or against the project?
Good afternoon. My name is Kerry Abel. I live at 140 Aberdeen Avenue, which is in this neighborhood, and have some of my other neighbors here. They can all raise their hand or stand. We just wanted to make sure if the property is just being annexed into the city and that there's no construction or anything can be built on the property. And we wasn't clear, so we were just trying to find out what. We saw the sign go up a couple of days ago, and so we're just trying to find out what's actually happening.
Okay. Thank you. Is the city aware of anything planned for the site?
To my knowledge, there is no proposed development on the site. As a matter of fact, there is a high power or high tension power line easement running through a section of it. The origination was because of an issue with tax billing, the split jurisdictions, and it was an effort to clean that up.
Thank you. Did that help you, sir?
That helps a lot.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Anybody else here to speak in relation to case 5? Okay. Hearing none, I'll accept the motion on case 5. Got a motion to approve case 5, 3875 or 3815 Asher Avenue and Clement Road. Can I get a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is approved. do, yeah. Well, just to be clear on the regular agenda, so we will use the following to administer the regular agenda items. The administrator will introduce the case. The applicant will have 10 minutes to make a presentation. Planning Commission may ask questions. The public comment period will open to those present. The public comment period will be closed. The applicant will have 5 minutes to respond to public comment. The Planning Commission may ask additional questions of the applicant. Deliberation and action by the Planning Commission will then occur.
Okay, the next case is Annex-2022-023, 6505 North Main Street. This request is a recommendation on the assignment of land use classification of Community Activity Corridor, AC2, and assignment of zoning of Community Activity Center / Corridor District, CAC, for a pending annexation. The property is currently classified as mixed residential, high density, and zone GC, which is general commercial in Richland County. This parcel is approximately 5 acres on North Main, near the intersection with Mason Road. The applicant is present. If
Okay.
you'd like to hear from him.
Yeah, if the applicant will come forward, please do so.
Good afternoon, my name is Sergey. You call it?
Yes. Do you have anything to present? You have anything to present to us?
Well, yeah, we want to move to Columbia District at this time. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Oh, okay. We tried to move to Columbia because you guys nice people, I guess. That's about it,
Okay.
as far as I know.
All right, thank you. Any questions from Planning Commission to staff or to the applicant regarding the request for annexation? Sir, would you mind coming up and speak again directly into the microphone so the folks in the back of the room can hear you as well?
What questions do you have actually for this property?
Sir, we'll have public comment once
Okay.
you present your case.
We want to move from Richland County to Columbia County.
You just want to annex into the city, that's?
Yes,
Okay,
technically.
all right. Thank you. All right, any questions for the applicant before we move into public comment?
So just to be clear, your residence is currently on this piece of property?
That's correct.
Okay. So you just want to be annexed into the city, receive city services?
Yeah,
Yeah.
water, electric,
Yeah.
sewage.
Sure,
Thank you.
understood, thank you.
I have one additional question, sir. Are you planning any future modifications to that property and land?
Yeah, we will. It's a 5 acres, it's wide open, so we need to put a fence on it, cameras, so far, until we change the residential.
Still don't think many folks can hear you. I can barely hear you, sir.
Really? Oh. Test?
Yeah.
All right. Yes, we will put a fence. We will put a security cameras on it. We probably is gonna remove a couple trees because after the hurricane last week ago or 2 weeks ago, most of them fall down, actually. Some of the streets completely dead, so we gotta cut the trees and burn it, I guess. cleaned because from previous owners, we got a lot of debris on it, some garbage around. We still need to clean this stuff. That's modification. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, thank you.
But just to understand, this request is only to annex in to the city, no further improvements for this request, is that correct? To staff?
So far not. We tried to put some other stuff like parking spots, but it's not going to be in the future until we change the zone.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from Planning Commission to the applicant or to staff?
I have a question for staff. So if this gets approved just to be annexed into the city, and if he does want to make improvements later, would that be an additional request coming back to us?
If he comes in and he's approved for the CAC district, which staff is recommending, and he wished to do improvements to the site, he would not necessarily need to come back as long as the improvements comply with our development regulations and the CAC district, which it is a commercial district. It allows both commercial and residential activities.
Thank you.
Any other questions at this time for staff? Okay. So we will now open it up for public comment. I think there were some emails regarding this particular case as well.
Yes, there were. There was a couple of emails. One of them was sent to you yesterday via email from Mr. Representative Chris Hart. And then today, I gave you guys a hard copy that didn't make it into the packet of some correspondence between Representative Hart and Mr. Geo Price of Richland County. So those will be entered into the record as well.
Yep. Has everybody had a chance to read those? Those were sitting on our desk today. Okay. Yeah, I think we've read those, and we will now hear from anyone else from the public in the audience who would like to speak. So is there anyone here that would like to speak for or against? Yes, sir. Please. Yes. We'll work to try to go one at a time. Yeah.
I'm not the only one anxious.
Yeah. Please state your full name for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, to the committee. My name is Anthony A. McCallum, and I represent quite a few of the folk in the 29203 community. And I come with some grave concerns. First of all, as a person of faith, I'm concerned about the community in which I serve, and I want to speak frankly to you as a committee that you be thoughtful and considerate. We're not here to hurt any business. It's not our goal. It's not our purpose. We're supposed to work together, but we can't work together. We don't know what we're working with. That's first of all. I didn't quite hear clearly what the gentleman spoke about. We need to know what the interest is going to be in this particular property. Right across from that property that you take into consideration, annexing that, they're building a massive amount of apartments. And we're talking about traffic flow. We're talking about numerous of things. I'm not concerned about the traffic flow at this time, but my biggest concern and gravest concern is we don't know what is going to be going in this particular property. We are seeing big 18-wheelers parking up there, talking about oil leaks and everything else. I'm not sure if anyone done any studies on that. If so, we haven't heard anything as a community. And I'm being a community leader, I have not heard anything. And it's tragic that when companies can come into a low community and just think they can put up anything and not be challenged. So I'm here today to say our community is not going to go for that without some explanation what's going to be coming up to better the community. It was brought to my attention they put trucks up there, parking 18-wheelers or campers, whatever it may be. again, this is street news I'm getting, bring it to you. If that be the case, we're going to have an influx of young women working that area. With all them houses getting ready to come up, those apartments getting ready to come up, I say that's going to be a serious problem. Sex trafficking, there's going to be low morale already in this community. We're trying to clean up the community, and I don't see how that's going to help. We're talking about putting 18-wheelers and campers, those kind of things we've been hearing now, and that's why we're here. Say we don't agree with that. And so we want to know what can we do to work together with this gentleman, his business, wherever it is. What is it going to do to enhance the community? And from my perspective, being there for 20-some years now, we're now starting to see, I know my time is up, the community is starting to look like it's starting to shape up for the betterment. And I want to know what is he going to bring to help us working together for the betterment of the 29203 community. So I would like you guys to take that into strong consideration as a man of faith, that we're going to challenge if it's not legit. If it's something about going to rush it in our throats, we're going to challenge any individual that we're not going to just lay idly by and take it.
Thank you.
So take that into consideration.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
for allowing me to share.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm James Starnes, and I'm president of the North 21 Terrace Neighborhood Association, which is the community where this property is housed. And I think there are a few people who come with me who are also interested in this property. We are coming today to request that you deny this request. At North 21 Terrace, we have for a long time been very supportive of improving the community. Ride with me, if you will, coming in on I-26 as you look at Columbia. You look at the landscape, and there's something kind of exciting about it. North Main Street coming off of I-20 is nothing less. It is a gateway to the Soda City. When you exit I-20, the first thing you see almost when you are approaching the Soda City is a Pepsi-Cola plant. Ironic, isn't it? We are concerned that as you approach the Capitol, you not get turned off by the time you get to the Capitol. If you come off of I-20 as you come to Columbia College, progress is not going to be the first thing that comes to your mind, and we want that to be the case. We want neighbors in our community that are going to bring businesses that are conducive to that community's well-being. And we are concerned that this property does not do that. The city has given us an apartment complex at that corner and now is prepared to give us maybe another property that we think will be problematic for travel, for traffic, and just not something that you're looking for in your community. I looked in the plan, the annexation plan, and it referenced improving the intersection at Colony Drive and Mason Road, sidewalks to Western Avenue, something that bothered me, streetscape improvement to combat the appearance of crime. I don't know what that's about. But the areas where the proposed improvement is listed are in the county. So what we're asking is that you please assist us as we continue our efforts to keep our community family-oriented. And if you see, we have pictures of the business now, which is zoned commercial, in general commercial. There are tractor-trailer parks on the property, which is contrary to what that zoning allows. We don't want it to get worse. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Gwendolyn Singletary. I'm the Executive Director of the Wiley Kennedy Foundation, as well as the President of the United Alliance of North Columbia Neighborhoods, which is a group of homeowner associations, nonprofits, and churches. And we also are against the rezoning and the change of this organization. I don't think you really have an understanding of how many people, how about you put your hands up? How many folk are really here to petition against this? We have major concerns about our community growing. We've had a lot of disinvestment opportunities happen. Investment opportunities happen all around except 29203. He mentioned we're the gateway. He mentioned we're right there by the highway. We are trying to rebuild our area and take it back. We were getting liquor license revoked in that area, and we want businesses that's gonna bring more jobs, not a convenience store. We want a business that's gonna bring jobs and change the trajectory, the narrative in that community. We're concerned about the kind of business coming, who you can employ in that business. We're concerned about the crime rate that's constantly being enhanced in that community. Some type of program where you have storage units, is what it says on the sign, RVs and things of that nature. That brings with it loitering, homeless violations, it brings prostitution, sex trafficking. We right by the highway to hit 95 corridor for sex trafficking. We want to challenge the Planning Commission to help us bring programs and companies and businesses to our area. Those help us grow. Not we'll hire one person or two people, hire a group of people. We are really willing and ready. We have plans, we have thought process, we're applying for grants. We're doing all we can in our area to try to help change the trajectory of what's happening in this community, and we need your help to get that done. We also know in terms of safety, that property is right across the street from this is owned by Richland County School District. Obviously, there's some plans at some point in time to put a school there. Right now, it may not be a challenge. What will happen when schools come there? In addition to the 280 apartments we have there right now, on that corner we have stuff like tractor trailers and things that need to come in. We just ask you to deny the request.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Tyra Little, and I was born and raised in this community. And just like what has already been stated is that we have this apartment complex that's coming that represents 288 units. With that, we know that that's going to bring more children into the community as well. So to have this gentleman bring in, from what it's saying on the sign, boats, tractor trailers, RVs, that's going to present a hazard for our children. And so we constantly talk about the children are our future. These children are dependent on the adults to make wise decisions for them. When you look at tractor trailer areas or where they're parking trailer parks, you have a lot of prostitution, as well as just all type of people hanging out there. And I don't think that that will be very good when you're talking about 288 more units, along with this being a community that you have a whole bunch of older people that are in this community. And so we don't want to upset that. You have the fire department that's right there. You also, just as she just spoke about, Richland County School District 1 own property that's across the street from there. And with the overcrowding that we already have for our schools, they're going to have to expand. That's not going to be a good combination to put that there. Already now, prior to coming to this meeting, there's already been tractor trailers that have been parked over there. It is a total eyesore when you're getting off of 20, coming down North Main to see tractor trailers sitting there. They got a burn pit that he's built up there. They've been burning stuff there as well. It's just an eyesore. And so we need something that is going to help to support the other families that are now coming into the community to create jobs. But we don't need anything else that is going to take away from the safety of the community. So I ask that you consider everything that we're saying here today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Greetings. My name is Jimmy Wright. I'm the Vice President of the North Columbia Civic Club, Greenview area. I'm going to be very brief about what I want to say, because I think when you ask the question to him about, is there anything else that he wants to talk about, that property and what he wants to do on that property, there's clearly a sign there that says that he's looking to put trucks there, RVs. There's a sign there, and he should have been able to speak about that, and you asked him twice. And so therefore, if he can't speak on that and saying exactly what it is exactly that he wants to put there, and not just change it from residential to whatever else it is, then that means that there are some other underlying reasons of what he wants to do, and he doesn't want to speak about that today. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good
My
afternoon.
name is Christy Savage. I have lived in the community for more than 30 years. the Eau Claire, North Columbia area is working on creating a better, a more productive community. I would ask that you vote no for the following reasons. One of the things that people tell us when we ask for additional resources in the community in terms of restaurants, stores, is that we need to count the housetops. We have 277 or 288 new apartments coming. Those are additional rooftops. I don't think anyone would want to look out of their front door or side door or back door and look at that. Additionally, that property is adjacent to Second Calvary Baptist Church. I have talked to some of the members of the church, and I know that that's not what they want. I don't know if they're here today, but I hope they will, and if they are, I would hope that they would come forth. But boats, trucks, and we've seen them there already, is not conducive to where we're going. It does not set the tone for what we want to build in the Eau Claire, North Columbia area, and I would ask that you vote against it.
Thank you.
Question for staff.
Okay, let's get through comment period, public comment period, and then we'll go back to questions. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
On behalf of Representative, as well as President of our Neighborhood Association, as well as my fellow neighbors, I also like to bring up an untapped reality. Over there,
Can you state your full name? for the
first name
record,
is
sir?
David, middle initial R, last name is Lewis, and it's spelled Lewis. It's a fire department right across. One many concerns of ours is already been noted many times that trucks has already been parked over there. Now, quite sure a lot of us have had experiences of trying to get out or try to get by an 18-wheeler that's been parked. Now, in case of an emergency, where the fire department walks right across the street, if they are trying to get out to put out a fire or go to an emergency response and cannot get out because you got 18-wheelers there, how would y'all feel about saying yes, knowing that if you said no, a person's life could have been saved? That's the reality. With a more residential coming up there now that's been approved, that intensifies the endangerment of that reality becoming reality. We are speaking right now with an individual who came up here to represent that told a half-truth where we might build a parking lot there. We asked him how many times? Speak up. If you are telling truth for the sake of community, why are you whispering? You must be hiding something or lying. Right now, he's lying. His main purpose is to build a parking lot there for trucks and other vehicles that can provide money for him, at the same time intensifying the possibility of life being lost because the correct people could not get out to save lives. And traffic jams like crazy because that's a high travel road, Mason Road is. So you got that in a traffic light that needs to be there, as my understanding is not being allowed to be put there. So you have multiple things that I really encourage y'all to investigate and check to see the total reality of his alternative motives.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your opportunity to hear my voice and others.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else here that would like to speak? We got one more. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is, I'm sorry, I'm a little hoarse. My name is Van Dozier. I'm a member of Second Calvary Baptist Church. I'm here to represent them. I am nothing important, just a simple member. We wanted to let you know that the only thing that separates the church property from this gentleman's property is a wooded area. There's no fence there. There's nothing that could possibly protect us anyway. Fences don't stop any crime or anything like that. But as far as that community is concerned, it's always been a good community. It's always been a beautiful view for people to come in off the interstate. It's very important as far as the church is concerned that we don't have any extra crimes going on in the community. We have been over in that area for over 20 years, and we need to try to help this community keep whatever this is that's going on that corner. This used to be the Monteith property, and the church was offered to buy it, but we could not afford it. Things are different now. People in the community, the church is having a rough time just like everybody else is. We just don't need added distractions. Thank
Sure.
you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm Senator John Scott, the senator for that particular zoning request in that particular community. Right adjacent to this property being asked to be rezoned, they're in the process of building about 100 and some odd multifamily units in. So we're already going to have chaos in just trying to get the traffic on Mason Road, which is a 2-lane road. There is no traffic light there and probably will never be a traffic light there. The other concern is adjacent behind that property is residential portion of the community. Across the street, there's still a lot of open land that belong to, I think it either belonged to the school district, it has not been developed because of the flooding problem that we've had over there. The other problem is a curb cut. There's no curb cut to be able to drop that traffic back in. Now, when the Monteith lived there, there was a lane to get her into her house. But there's no curb cut to bring any type of commercial trucks or others into that traffic. You're asking for a total disaster. That property also on the opposite side of the street, traffic coming down the hill. On the same side, you've got a curve, you've got the fire station down below. I think Representative Hart, who is also an attorney, sent y'all a bunch of pictures and other illustration. That property would be the wrong thing, and you're asking for a total disaster in terms of public safety to make that property other than anything than a residential property. And that's probably one reason why all these years that property has never been rezoned. That multifamily, they did what's being asked to do now. Annex it, zoning, and the public and the community behind it really had very little input. And this came at the middle of the pandemic. So I ask you, please, don't make the same mistake. Drop that traffic on this community. We're already still trying to go through how we're going to fix some of the problem. That Mason Road has always been a problem in terms of getting traffic in and out, in and back into North Main. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, is there anybody else here to speak for or against? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Kay Patterson, and I am president of Windermere Springs Neighborhood Association. And I, along with my neighborhood, stand in solidarity with North 21 Terrace and the United Alliance neighborhood of North Columbia. I was born in 29203. The majority of my life officially has been 29203 as a zip code. And I understand the significance, the historic background to this property. And sir, at this point, that request does not benefit the neighborhood. Only a few would benefit from that truck stop. with all the residents and soon-to-be residents in that neighborhood. I would ask that you say no, that you not support this, and that you would look for a more better use to use that property to benefit the neighborhoods. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else here in the public? Yes, sir. As the applicant, we'll allow you the time to come back up after everyone else has spoken as well. Anybody else here to speak for or against? You have a question for staff before we hear from the applicant?
Yeah, I was curious if the proposed land use and zoning community activity corridor and the / corridor district, would that allow for storage of vehicles and trailers?
Does allow for parking lots. I guess I might ask Hope if she can come and maybe clarify some of the specificities of what that might include for a parking lot. So parking lot would be an allowed use. I think not long-term vehicle storage, but
proposed zoning district would allow a parking lot, which he would be able to park commercial vehicles, 18-wheelers in that parking lot. One caveat to that is that they're not allowed, commercial parking lots are not allowed adjacent to residential zoning districts. So if he were to develop that as a parking lot and store vehicles there, he would have to subdivide that part out, so along Mason Road, so that that portion where it's contiguous across Mason Road to the residential, the RM2 across the street, the parking lot couldn't be adjacent to that. So you'd have to subdivide it so that it no longer was, we consider it contiguous if it's across the street. So you would have to subdivide a portion off to do the parking lot. But yes, it would be allowed.
That answer your question?
Yeah, well, so a follow-up question, if he was to subdivide, would he have to go before, is that considered a rezoning, or?
No, to
is that
subdivide the
administrative?
property, that's just an administrative process.
Okay, if there's no one else here to speak for or against, applicant, you're able to come. Please limit your response to 5 minutes if you could, and speak clearly into the microphone if you would.
Everybody talk about the crimes.
Yeah, please speak please speak into the microphone if you
Everybody talk about the crimes. What kind of crimes are we talking about? We've got a semi-truck parking spot, right, like less than half a mile. Well, it's a mile actually to the parking spot for the TA truck stop. We've got Coca-Cola plant, which has got over 5,000 trucks going back and forward every day, including Main Street, which is, we're talking about every like 15 to 30 seconds, you will see the trucks going Mason Road or Main Street. Is that a safety? Okay. We're talking about, on my land, parking spot, not just trucks going back and forward, back and forward. People's gonna come, park the truck, park their RVs, park their cars, and leave. So technically, this is gonna be secure area. And I'm sorry for the church, which is, I spoke a lot of people from the church, which has come in and said directly right to my eyes, you're not gonna do anything, that's our land, you should sell it back to us. And I'm sorry. I didn't know there was a second people down there on the lot who wants to buy this lot. Okay? They give me the price, I saw the price, I paid the cash, and I'm on it. If you guys can come to me and say, hey, please do not do anything, it's a church property, then I will walk away. But you guys come up after two or 3 weeks saying that's our lot and it's supposed to be our lot, not your lot. Okay? So that's two different things. So please, I'm sorry, so I'm stepping on somebody else's neck. But we're talking about parking spots for the trucks, trailers, RVs, cars, which is people really need it. We put our own sign down there to see how many people actually wants to have a parking spot, park their RVs or boats. You're not gonna believe how many phone calls I got. Some people even wants to give money up front for the deductible to save the spot, because really city doesn't have a parking spots for boats, trucks, or anything like that. Even we try to explain to people it's not gonna be come and go, it's just a park, you guys park it and forget about it. When it's gonna be ready, come back, pick up your vehicle. It's not gonna be going back and forward. Besides, for insurance, we gotta talk to the DOT. They're gonna tell us where we're gonna put a parking, the insurance for the people who's actually is gonna get into to our site. So that's got nothing to do with me. Wherever they're gonna tell me to put the insurance, we will put them on. Now, for the safety, trucks going back and forward every 30 to 15 seconds. If anybody wants to stay, just stay in my lot and I count the trucks. The Coca-Cola plant, it's like next block to us, half a mile. Is a problem with that? There's any crimes down there? I don't think so. Another question, I forgot pick up my note. Yes, it will be some modification, it is, because we have to, if the customer is gonna come over to us and park their vehicle, we wanna make sure their vehicle is secure to sit on lot. Yes, we gotta put a fence, we have to put a fence. Yes, we gotta put a cameras, so it's gonna be safe. In case if it's any crimes going on, at least we gotta prove for the officers to find out who actually did this. Any other question? Kind of forgot, I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
So to confirm, in addition to the fence, all along, the plan was for that to be parking and storage?
Yes, yes. So we're not gonna store the vehicle who's actually load on it, no. We will be store the people who's actually is gonna come over from the long run, if we're talking about the trucks or trailers. So they could come home, they're sitting home for 2 to 3 weeks, they park the truck, go home, after that they come back, pick up their trucks and go on their, everybody like the trucks for some reason, but not to park the trucks. And city cannot provide any parking spots. City cannot provide any storage for the trucks, trailers, RVs. This is a big issue. We put one of our own website down there so that people can vote. And right now, it's only 2 days. I was sitting there, or 3 days, something like that. And right now, there's 47 people was interested to rent a spot, and only 14 is against it. I guess all 14 people is here. Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question for staff.
Yes.
You said that for the parking, he has to, sublet it. How much space does he have to what's the, acreage of what he can use for the parking?
Sorry, there's no specific acreage for that. The code just says that a commercial parking lot cannot be adjacent to residentially zoned property. And there is residentially zoned property across Mason Road. So basically, all of the frontage of Mason Road would have to be taken out of that piece, but there's no specific acreage. It would just be subdivided such that that parking lot property would not be adjacent to the residential property across Mason Road.
And when you say adjacent, how many?
Picture just a strip along Mason Road, basically.
Okay.
That frontage there we consider adjacent to residential, so that would all have to be removed from the parcel with the parking lot.
Thank you.
In that scenario, can Mason Road be used for ingress, egress? Or do you have to then only use North Main?
Well, that would, ingress and egress would be up to, I don't know if that's a state road or city road. That's not entirely all a zoning question.
Yeah.
But he may potentially be able to if that was approved by the Streets and Engineering Division.
Sir?
The main street actually has got two lanes going one way and back way. When we talk to engineers, they don't see any problem to put any entrance from the main street at all. Because we got two lanes going one direction, two lanes going back direction, and we got a middle lane for the turning. In case if it's large vehicles or small vehicles want to turn in, they do have a parking spot right in the middle before they make a turn. So this street is huge. Now, on the Mason Road, I'm sorry?
No, you speak, sir.
So on the Mason Road, yes, it will be complicated. It is. So more likely it's going to be from the main street. For the safety, pedestrians, for the safety of other vehicles, it will be from the, more likely, 99.9% from the main street.
Thank you. All right. We have closed the public comment period, sir. Are there any other questions from Planning Commission to the applicant or to staff? Any discussion?
I've got another question. For the portion of the parcel, I guess this adjoining or is next to the church property, is there any type of buffer requirement for parking lots? Setbacks or?
Is his residence is in between the church and what would be the parking lot?
Part of it? So there wouldn't be any required buffers between the church and the parcel or the parking lot?
Or the residential?
It's based on the zoning district. And give us, and the use, give us just a second.
And while she's looking that up, also, I just want to clarify for, I guess, everybody, a reminder that when these requests come to Planning Commission, it is a recommendation to the City Council for a land use classification and a zoning classification. And City Council, makes the ultimate decision about whether the property should be annexed. So just so everybody,
Sure.
remembers that that's the process. This is just sort of step one.
We're still having issues up here with iPads. If somebody can help us so Planning Commission can see what y'all are looking at.
So do you have to have, so the residential strips got to go over here along Green and Masonry?
That's something they got to think about.
Okay, no, there's no buffer requirement based on the current use and the size of the parcel.
Just another follow-up question. Go ahead.
They're asking for me to repeat
Yeah,
that.
sure.
I said, no, there would not be a required buffer between those two parcels because of the current use and size of the parcel next to it, so.
Understood. So if it were to be annexed and there was a subdivision process with a site plan, you're saying that could be done administratively? It would not come before this planning commission because it would meet the land
Right.
use?
Correct. It wouldn't trigger planning commission review.
Got it. Any other questions or discussion? Any other questions or discussion on y'all's end? All right. Hearing none, no further questions or comments, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that Annex 2022-0023, 6505 North Main Street, TMS 11716-01.04 be denied.
Got a motion to deny. Can I get a second?
Second.
Got a motion to deny and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it, the motion is denied. Please, if you would exit quietly, we still have some more meeting agenda items to get done. All right, can we move on to case 9?
So case number 9, this is a future land use map amendment, LUMA-2022-0004. This is for 1214 Scott Street, 1222 Scott Street, 2109, 2119, and 2121 Sumter Street. This is a recommendation to amend the Columbia Compass and Vision 2036 future land use map to modify the land use classification of the property from Urban Core Mixed Residential Type 2 to Urban Core Community Activity Center, UCAC 2. And this is a request that's associated with the next case, which is a rezoning for these properties along Sumter Street.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, the changes are to make a consistent land use across the block. There will eventually be a proposal here, and just to make a consistent land use and consistent zoning for a potential future development. It's consistent with the North Columbia Master Plan, and staff recommends approval of the request.
Great. Is the applicant present? Yes. Would you like to speak at all?
In this case, the applicant is actually staff.
Sir in the back. Sir, would you allow us to have our meeting, please? Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Commission. We bought this property about 2 years ago, I guess. And when we bought it, all of the lots are in different zoning classifications. So you have CAC and MU2. So we're trying to consolidate that to have one cohesive zoning. We intend to build apartments there, so it'll be about 109 units. And I think that's about it. We can talk more.
Okay, great. Are there any questions from Planning Commission to the applicant or to staff?
And just to clarify, this case is for the land use change, which is
Right.
staff is actually the applicant, but it's in conjunction with the rezoning request, which is the applicant's request, so they just kind of go
Okay.
together.
Any questions?
Mr. Chair, I have a question for the applicant.
Yes.
As it relates to the type of apartments that might be built and for future use, can you maybe share a little bit about that with us?
For sure. This is in partnership, you'll see the entity name is Ghost Rider, OZ Fund. And then you have Haven Home, which is a nonprofit that I founded locally. And so we intend to house veterans here. We looked at the need for veteran housing in the community and decided that it would be a good project for that. These will be high-end. This is a $30 million development, so we're not skimping by any stretch of the imagination. We're really excited to bring it to the corridor. I think it'll add a lot, not only for the veteran community, but also for the community surrounding. I live in Elmwood Park, so I'm right across the street.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions for the applicant or staff at this stage? We'll open it up to public comment. If there's anyone here in the public that would like to speak for or against this particular case, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment period. And if there's no further questions, no follow-up questions from Planning Commission, I'll accept a motion.
Are we doing a motion for 9 and 10 or just 9?
Just 9.
Okay. I make a motion that we approve LUMA 22-0004, 1214 Scott Street, partial, and 1222 Scott Street, 2109 and 2119, and 2121 Sumter Street, partial.
Got a motion to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
Got a motion to approve and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is approved. We'll move to case number 10.
Case 10, this is a zoning map amendment, ZMA 2022-0015 for 1214 and 1222 Scott Street, 2121, 2119, and 2109 Sumter Street. Request recommendation to rezone the property from mixed-use district MU2 in the North Main Corridor Design Overlay District to Community Activity Center Corridor District, CAC, in the North Main Corridor Design District. And this is the case we...
Can you want to flip
Oh, I'm
to the
sorry.
next one?
Yeah, sure. Sorry about that. So same properties, and this is for the proposal that, well, the rezoning that will eventually be the proposal.
Okay. Any questions regarding the rezoning or the zoning map amendment to staff? And the applicant already really spoke about it. Is there anything else you'd like to add about the rezoning portion, the zoning map amendment?
We just want it to be all.
Sure. Any questions for the applicant on that? No? Okay, well, we'll open it up to public comment. Is there anybody here from the public that would like to speak for or against case 10? Hearing and seeing none, we'll close the public comment period. And if there are no follow-up questions from Planning Commission, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend we approve, or make a motion to approve zoning map amendment 2022-0015 for 1214 and 1222 Scott Street, and 2121, 2119, and 2109 Sumter Street.
Great, got a motion to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is approved. Move on to case 11.
Case 11 is ETA 2022-0006, the request to amend Chapter 17, Article 5 of the Columbia Code of Ordinances to clarify requirements for transitional and street protective yard requirements when parking is impacted. And so this is coming before you today because City Council recently adopted amendments to the UDO that included provisions that exempt a redevelopment project or would exempt a redevelopment project from the transitional or street protective yard buffer if it requires the loss of parking. In responding to feedback provided at the public hearing, council requested a subsequent amendment to ensure a clear understanding that the reduction only applies in areas where parking is impacted and that all other buffer requirements remain in force when there's not a reduction in parking. And you should have the proposed language to clarify that in your packet.
We do. Is there any questions regarding the text changes here?
Yeah, I had a question. Is this the same as what we had, was it last month or 2 months
Yes,
ago?
and it was passed by council, but they requested some amendments to it just to clarify some of the language.
Okay.
And so that's what this is.
Right. Any questions from Planning Commission? We'll open this up to public comment then. Is there anybody here to speak for or against this particular case? I don't see any. We'll close public comment period. Any follow-up questions for staff on this one? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that ZTA 2022-0006 be approved.
Got a motion to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is approved. Move on to... Motion, we adjourn. Got a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Ayes have it. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.